So even though you don't own your own property, you can still house hack and save tons of money. Hey everyone, I'm Chris and welcome back to the channel where we talk about investing, real estate, and saving money. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you guys how I house hack our 2-bedroom house so that we can live for free. If you don't know, house hacking is when you buy a duplex or a triplex, live in one, rent out the other one so that the rent will cover your mortgage and housing expenses. The ultimate goal of house hacking is to drastically minimize your expenses so that you save tons of money and then you can ultimately live for free. Like I've said, we have a 2-bedroom house. It's not a duplex or a triplex, and because we live in one of the most unaffordable cities here in New Zealand, we borrowed a lot of money from the bank, so I wanted to make the most out of our situation. There are actually places in New Zealand where it's much easier to house hack because real estate is cheaper, and I actually want to move sometime in the future, but this is our situation now and I really wanted to make the most out of it. Back in 2016, my husband and I bought this house for $500,000 with a $400,000 mortgage because the bank required a 20% down deposit. And ever since then, we've always rented out the spare bedroom. We've tried Airbnb, we've tried short-term tenants, we've tried long-term tenants, and I'm happy to say now that our current tenant has been with us since 2016. Back in 2016, our mortgage was $600 per week, so that's $200 between myself, my husband, and my flatmate because our flatmate was paying us $200 per week as rent. When I was living by myself, I was actually living in a 1-bedroom flat. My landlady lived upstairs, so she was actually house hacking her house and I was paying for her mortgage, and I was paying $260 per week. So my mortgage repayments in 2016 was already lower than market rent because we were renting out the spare bedroom. Fast forward to 2019, and this is when we live completely for free because the rent completely covers the mortgage repayments. And how we achieve this is that every year we save so much of our income. We don't buy a lot of things that we don't need. We put it back into the house as a lump sum payment. And in 2019, only $160,000 of the principal loan was left, and then the rent of $210 per week completely covers our mortgage repayments. So yes, we increased by $10 in 2017 and we've never increased the rent ever since. For our mortgage repayments, we pay both principal and interest, and we pay $722 per month. We also pay for home and content insurance, and that's $170 per month. And we also pay for rates, and that's $230 per month. And because we rent out the spare bedroom, we collect rent of $910 per month. To put this into a better perspective, because some people might think that $210 per week rent is not a lot of money, but in a year that's $10,920, and because we've had our house for 4.5 years, that's a total savings of almost $50,000 that goes straight towards the mortgage repayments. The rent that we charge our current flatmate is actually way under market value, but we still get $910 per month. And because of the rent, that brings our total expenses down to $212 per month. And since I have a husband to share expenses with, my out-of-pocket cost for myself is $106 per month, or $24 per week. If you compare that to market rent in our current neighborhood, it's around $275 per week for a single person for 1 bedroom. And because we've been house hacking this house since we bought it, and we're now only paying $24 per week. It is clear now that one of the benefits of house hacking is to drastically minimize your expenses and save money, but there's another benefit that's equally important, and that's to use the money that you've saved and reinvest it back into real estate. And that's exactly what we did in 2019. We bought another property, and that's our rental property. If you haven't seen that video yet, I suggest you guys check it out. It's the empty house tour of our rental property. In 2020 or 2021, we're actually expanding our portfolio. It's either we're going to buy another property or we're going to build another house in one of our properties. To some people watching this, it may seem like the only way to house hack is to first buy your property, but there are actually other ways of doing this. I personally know of someone who rents out an entire house. He lives in 1 bedroom and he rents out the other 2 bedrooms, and he's completely living rent-free. Or you can rent out the other bedrooms to Airbnb because Airbnb usually gets more income compared to traditional renting. As as long as you have permission from your landlord to sublease, then you are saving tremendous amount of money by house hacking this way. Although doing it this way doesn't really build wealth, it only saves you tremendous amounts of money. You can use the money that you save towards a down deposit of a first house. And they say that millennials use 45% of their income towards rent, and if you save that 45% or reduce it significantly, then you are so much more closer to buying your first property. I have first home buyers talk to me about buying real estate, and the one thing that I always stress to them is to rent out your spare bedroom, because you pay your mortgage so much quicker this way. And also, if you keep your spare bedroom, you end up buying a lot of things that you don't need just because you have the space to store it. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you want to see this 2-bedroom house that we currently live in and how we live below our means, check out this video. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Leave me a comment because I read every single one of them, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!